Men over 60, if you have been waking up exhausted, struggling to perform in the bedroom, and watching your strength, drive, and identity slowly slip away, I want you to hear something that may change the way you see yourself and the way you understand what has been happening inside your body. What you are experiencing is not normal aging, and it is not your fault. You are not broken. You are not weak. And you are not reaching the end of who you are. What you are feeling is a biological collapse happening quietly in the night, a nightly depletion of the mineral responsible for your energy, your masculinity, your calm, your sleep, your blood flow, your confidence, and your vitality. I have listened to thousands of men across America share the same painful story. They sleep but wake up drained. They love their partners but avoid intimacy out of embarrassment. They want to be strong but feel weaker by the month. And they look in the mirror wondering where the man they once were has gone. Some attribute it to age, some to bad luck, some to stress, but they are wrong. The real reason is a hidden deficiency that nearly every man over 60 faces, and almost no doctor ever discusses, a deficiency of magnesium. The master mineral that powers deep sleep, testosterone repair, and blood flow. When this mineral disappears, the male body cannot rebuild. It cannot restore. It cannot fire the engines that were once automatic. But when you restore the right form of magnesium at night, the transformation can begin in as little as 24 hours. I have spent more than 30 years working with men who felt defeated by the slow erosion of their strength and identity, and I have watched the light return to their eyes when they finally understand the truth. Before we go further, if this message hits home, if it touches a place inside you that you have not spoken out loud, take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications so you never miss another life-changing lesson dedicated to men over 60. And if this resonates with you, type a simple 1 in the comments. If it does not, type 0. Your honesty is the first step in reclaiming the man you still are beneath the fatigue and frustration. There comes a moment in a man's life when he realizes something has changed but cannot pinpoint when it began. He looks in the mirror and sees the same face, the same eyes, the same features, yet something inside feels different, dimmer, quieter, heavier. The strength he once carried without thinking now requires effort. The energy that once fueled long days and longer nights begins slipping away as if someone is secretly draining his battery. The private moments that once felt natural and effortless now carry pressure, worry, and sometimes disappointment. Many men keep these fears locked inside. They tell themselves it is just stress, just age, just the natural progression of life. But deep down, a quiet fear takes root. The fear that something essential is disappearing. I have spoken to husbands who adore their wives but avoid intimacy out of fear of failing. I have listened to grandfathers who pretend to be tired, not because they are, but because they cannot bear to admit their bodies do not respond the way they used to. I have heard veterans, men who once felt unstoppable, describe how a single flight of stairs now leaves them winded. Many men try to push through with willpower, but willpower cannot replace biology. The emotional weight of this decline is heavier than the physical symptoms. Men who once commanded rooms now hesitate to speak. Men who took pride in their strength now shrink from the expectations of their partners. Men who once felt proud of who they were now struggle with feelings they never imagined they would face. They feel like passengers trapped inside bodies they no longer recognize. They feel guilty, ashamed, embarrassed, and misunderstood, and they carry all of it in silence. They don't want pity. They want answers. They want solutions. They want to fight back. They want to win. What they do not know is that the real reason behind these changes is not age, but the breakdown of the system responsible for rebuilding a man's vitality each night. While you sleep, your hormones rebalance, your energy is restored, your blood vessels open, your inflammation decreases, your mind resets, and your masculinity is rebuilt behind the scenes. When this system collapses, everything in your life becomes a struggle. Sleep becomes shallow. Mornings become battles, intimacy becomes unpredictable, focus becomes fog, and life becomes heavier. This silent crisis affects millions of men over 60, and yet society tells them to accept it as their new reality. But decline is not destiny. The deeper truth is this: your body is starving for a mineral that modern diets can no longer provide. As you age, your digestive system loses its ability to absorb magnesium. Stress drains it, medications deplete it, and without this mineral, your body cannot repair itself. What men interpret as aging is often the slow collapse of magnesium reserves that once powered their masculinity. Without magnesium, the nervous system stays locked in fight or flight mode, sleep becomes broken, testosterone production slows, and blood flow weakens. The result is exhaustion, irritability, anxiety, nighttime bathroom trips, weakened erections, muscle tension, and mornings that feel like punishment instead of renewal. I have listened to countless men describe their symptoms with a mix of frustration and confusion. They talk about lying awake for hours with their minds racing. They talk about waking multiple times at night drenched in tension. They talk about legs that twitch, cramp, or feel like electricity pulsing beneath the skin. They talk about walking to the bathroom again and again because their bladder never seems fully calm at night. They talk about anxiety they cannot explain, irritability that affects their relationships, and sadness they keep hidden. But what cuts the deepest is the loss of morning erections. It begins subtly and then fades completely, leaving many men feeling like a vital part of their identity has vanished. They carry this pain silently because they believe nothing can be done. But every one of these symptoms points to the same cause: magnesium deficiency. Without magnesium, your nervous system cannot relax, your hormones cannot rebuild, your blood vessels cannot open, and your sleep cannot restore you. The good news is that your body is not failing, it is asking for help. And when you give it what it needs, everything begins to change. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 processes inside the body. It controls muscle relaxation, mood stability, testosterone production, heart rhythm, oxygen delivery, and deep restorative sleep. But most men take the wrong form of magnesium, usually oxide, which passes straight through the body without being absorbed. That is why men often say they tried magnesium and nothing happened. The problem was never the mineral, it was the form. The form that changes everything is magnesium glycinate. This deeply calming version binds to glycine, allowing it to enter the nervous system quickly and begin repairing the body at night. It activates the parasympathetic system, the rest and repair mode that older men rarely enter anymore. When glycinate enters the bloodstream, the changes are often felt within days. Muscles relax, the mind quiets, breathing deepens, heart rate slows, sleep becomes restorative instead of fragmented. Testosterone begins to rise again, inflammation decreases, blood vessels open, and circulation improves. Men start waking up with morning erections again. Sometimes for the first time in years, they rediscover confidence, they reconnect with their partners. They feel alive again. But magnesium glycinate alone does not address the mental side, the racing thoughts, nighttime anxiety, memory concerns, or difficulty shutting down the mind. That is where the second form comes in: magnesium threonate, the only version capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier. It reaches the center of the brain where sleep, memory, stress, and calm are regulated. Men who take threonate often describe experiencing their first complete night of sleep in years, waking up clear-headed instead of foggy, speaking more calmly, thinking more sharply, and feeling mentally grounded in a way they haven't experienced in decades. When glycinate and threonate work together, the body and brain finally synchronize, allowing a man to feel like himself again: strong, clear, calm, energized, confident, connected, and restored. But even with the right forms, two mistakes sabotage most men: timing and consistency. Magnesium must be taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed to align with the body's natural repair cycle. And it must be taken every night for at least 14 nights without skipping. Magnesium rebuilds the body slowly, brick by brick. When men skip nights, the progress collapses. But when they stay consistent, the transformation often feels miraculous. I have seen men who were exhausted, discouraged, and withdrawn become revitalized in a matter of weeks. I have seen marriages restored, intimacy reignited, confidence rebuilt, and energy reborn. I have also seen the despair that comes when men make avoidable mistakes, choosing the wrong form, taking it at the wrong time, or quitting too early. These simple errors steal hope from men who need it most. But when corrected, everything changes. And now, after everything we have uncovered together, after understanding the silent deficiency, the hidden symptoms, the real cause, the right forms, the correct timing, and the common mistakes. Here is the truth I want every man over 60 to hear: decline is not your destiny. You were never meant to wither. You were not designed to fade. Your body is not shutting down, it is starving for what it has lost. And when you restore what it needs, your strength, your energy, your confidence, and your masculinity begin to return. If you are a man who has felt your fire dimming, know the story is not over. You can reclaim the man you still are. You can restore what was taken. You can rebuild your vitality, your sleep, your clarity, your power, and your intimacy. Your body is waiting for one change, one correction, one decision, and that decision begins tonight.